Hello, everybody. Welcome to my live for today. What's going to be the subject for the live? Well, I want to talk about a particular area of the U visa. Okay, the U visa is when you're a victim of crime. And one of the areas that, people get stumbled on a lot is the certification. So I want to talk about that. And then I'll answer all your questions as long as I have time. And I'll go through, all of the people who joined, see what your immigration questions are, and we'll go from there. So you might be looking and go, hey, he's in a different place than he is most of the time when he does lives. I mean, I do lives from lots of different areas, but this is a different place. It's a nice bright light. I'm actually at a hotel right by a hospital because today I'm getting a new left hip. And I thought, well, I don't have to be to the hospital. I don't have to leave for another 3 hours. So I get some work done. I'll do a nice live. I'll answer some immigration questions. And then I'll go get my new left hip. And come August, I'm going to get a new right hip. So I'm going to have a new left hip and right hip. But for today, it's the left hip. So I'll get the live done and then head on over after, okay? So let's talk about the subject matter for today. So the U visa. I have a lot of people who are victims of crimes who call me and they go, okay, now I want to get a U visa. I say, well, did you cooperate with the police? Did you cooperate with anyone? They'll go, no. I'll go, did you even contact anybody about the fact you were a victim of crime? And sometimes they'll say no. And so there is an element of what you need to do in order to ultimately get the U visa. And one requirement is there has to be a certification. Okay, what does that mean? Well, a certification is basically, it's a little more than this, but basically it is a document from a government official essentially verifying you were a victim of crime and you helped. Okay, now it doesn't mean you have to sit on the witness stand and give testimony to convict a guy. It doesn't mean the guy even has to be brought to trial. It doesn't mean the guy has to be convicted. No, it doesn't mean any of that. But it does mean that the police or the governmental agency has to agree to sign the certification that in fact you were a victim of crime and that you assisted in whatever manner that you do. It might be you called it in and you said, okay, if you need any help, I'm here. It might be that you had a detective call you and ask you 3 questions and you answered the 3 questions and that was it. That would do. Okay? But you have to make sure that if you're going to submit the U visa, if you do it without the certification, it absolutely, positively will not get approved. Okay, that's a fact. It's statutorily in the requirements to have it. There's other types of visas where it's not, similar to this, like the T visa where, they would like you to have, similar to a certification, but you don't have to. There's back roads and ways that you can explain why you didn't get it, but not with the U visa. Wow, it sure is bright, huh? Wow, look at all my wrinkles. You have to submit the certification no matter what. So then I have the next issue that comes up where, people say, well, I tried to do this myself and I tried to get the certification from the police and they said they didn't want to do it. okay? Or it's been with them for 8 months and they say they'll get to it at some point, okay? Whatever. The certification doesn't have to be specifically with the police. That's why in the beginning I was saying it has to be certified by governmental agency or, some person in the government. So if you've worked with a detective on this, that detective can do it. If you've worked with FBI, okay, DEA, okay, there are even organizations out there, depending on what you are a victim of, that will certify it under certain conditions, and they had nothing to do with the crime, but they want to help you, okay? There's also ways, if you can't get any government official to do it, you can actually make various motions and get into court and have the judge do it. Okay, so there are ways to fight in which to ultimately get certification. So just because you might not be able to get it from the police station, because there's counties out there, depending where you live, where they want nothing to do with this and they will delay it until the cows come home. Okay, so there's ways of getting certification from other than just the police. Okay, and then there are ways of trying to get it faster from the police if, that's also an option. Okay? So short, sweet, to the point. If you took anything away from this, you need certification for a U, and there's more than one way to get the certification. Okay? And if you're a victim of crime, you need to call the police. Don't think you can get a U without calling them, okay, making the report. And if they need you to help, help. And if they call you, call back. And if the detective asks questions, answer them. Okay? If you don't cooperate, if you don't answer the questions, the U is gone. Okay? All right. So let's scroll back because, well, I've got a little hip thing to do after this, so, it's going to be a shorter live than normal. Let's see. How's everybody doing today? It is a fine day today. Okay. As you can see, lots of sun. Okay. Second interview called after first asylum interview after 4 months. Well, I'm not sure what your question is. This is Priya. I suspect what happened is you were called for a first interview, nothing happened, and then after 4 months they called you for a second interview. And normally the reason they do that is they don't believe something or there's some inconsistency, but not enough to deny it, but something is off. So I would need to know why, what they asked you for in the second one, what the issues are, okay? I think they're trying to verify something or they're trying to get you in to admit to something that you might not want to admit to, okay? Alrighty, let's see what else we have. Okay. I just pinned my goal. I don't know why it says this. See, I pinned my goal to get 5 roses today. And it says, if you give me a rose, I will sing. But I'm not going to sing. But I'll appreciate it if you give me a rose. Okay, good morning, good luck. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. That's from NVS. All right. Alejandra got the #1 gifter badge. Okay, second interview confused. That's the same. Oh, thanks. All right, thank you, Pack. Got 2 roses from Pack. Appreciate it. So the second interview, again, the only, thanks. Thank you. I made 80% of the goal. All right. I love when I get the roses. Appreciate it. Again, they're not interviewing you the second time because they want to waste their time. There's something they don't believe. There's something that's contradictory. There's some issue that has not been resolved. Thanks for the roses. Okay. Sassy got the #3 gifter badge. Second interview after asylum, first interview. You're asking me different ways of me telling you the same thing. It's not a good sign. If you didn't retain an attorney, you should do one now. Okay. I am working for a Singapore company. This is for PAC. This is Roseman. I am working for a Singapore company, but the customer in the U.S., I'm supposed to go to the U.S. to provide. And then it doesn't say what you're doing. I suspect what you're saying is that you're probably Singaporean, right? Or you're not a U.S. citizen. You're working for the Singapore company, and for whatever reason, the customer in the U.S. needs you to come there in order to provide training, in order to provide negotiations for the contract, whatever it is. So you want to know, I assume, how you can come to the U.S. to do that. Well, one quick way, which is also one way that is denied a lot, is if you're going to be negotiating contracts with this person or company in the U.S. regarding your Singaporean company and not negotiating contracts inside for, work you will do inside the U.S., there's actually the B1 actually has provisions that allow you to do that. Now, if you're supposed to go there to train, that's a little different issue. There is a line when you go to the U.S. of which you're not supposed to work, especially on the B1, other than do the training specifically, on the whatever the Singaporean systems are, or the contract negotiations. If in fact you are a manager or a specialized worker at the Singaporean company and you have a branch office in the U.S., you ought to ask them to apply and get you an L1, because the L1 allows you to go back and forth without any problems at all. No issues regarding, well, are you really coming here to do this or that, and not being questioned up and down 20 times every time you enter because they think you're going to Disneyland and not doing what you have to do under the B1. Okay? Can someone who's eligible for a T visa, if the employer doesn't give SSN benefits and the W-2? Okay, well, it's possible. Okay, so the T visa, this is for Ali Trader. The T visa is for someone who's been a victim of sex trafficking or work trafficking. Okay, so if you're not getting benefits that you should, and it's been for some time, then and we can show a pattern of conduct, because if I suspect if they're not paying you, they're not paying the person who works beside you either, then it is possible to get a T, okay? And the nice thing about the T, that's the one I was referring to earlier, there are certain certifications you need for it, but if you can't get it, there's ways that you can argue around it, okay? And also, the T visa, there's a whole lot less people applying for that than there is the U. And there's not the 10-year wait, no way even near that. So good arguments can be made, okay? I mean, it's obviously not a slam dunk guarantee. It's not like you work for 3 years and they didn't pay you anything, okay? But good arguments could be made for the T visa, okay? All right, let's see. Technical assistance for the machine. Oh, for about 1 to 2 months. Can I go on using ESTA? If you were to let them know why you're going in, okay, the ESTA similarly, like, I was talking about the B1, how you have B1, B2. B2 is the vacation part. B1 is the business-related part. What you're talking about here, technical assistance, for 1 to 2 months, that would fall under the B1. But if you have an ESTA, which they refer to as W1 or W2, same type of thing, you need to let them know why you're coming in so they can designate the part of ESTA that you would be coming under. So the answer is yes if it's presented properly, okay? Obviously, you don't come in unannounced and say you're going to Disneyland if that's what you're going to do, because then it will be not classified properly, okay? Let's see. Oh, wait, it just went all the way up. Oh, thanks for the rose, Ahmed. Okay, just a minute. Okay, just a second. I have to scroll up to where I was. 1 second. When you're saying when's going to be hop travel ban? I don't know what you mean. You need to elaborate on that. Okay. All right, let's see. Can someone, does I-751 get an interview now? It's up to them. Okay, it's up to immigration whether they want to waive the interview or not. So the I-751s, when someone's been married but less than 2 years, and then at the end of the 2 years, they have to file the I-751 petition to remove the conditional residency so that they are not, so they can show it's a bona fide marriage. If there's no issues and they feel there's no issues, they won't give an interview. So it depends on the case. Okay. I am moving to Romania to get equivalent of my Egyptian certificate to work as a lawyer. Do you have any points? I'm sorry, I don't, because I don't have any clue about Romanian immigration law. But if you had any questions about U.S. immigration law, I don't care what it is. I can answer anything and everything. Romania, sorry. I'd have to do research on it to even start. Okay? But good luck to you. I would start, you know what you should do is call the Romanian consulate. Okay, I'm not sure where you are, but wherever you are, there'll be a Romanian consulate. They will either answer you or refer you to someone who does Romanian immigration law. Okay? Let's see. I think we're getting almost to the end here. What evidence do you need for a T visa? Well, I would need to talk to you for an hour for that. And T visas are not easy. So honestly, you need to retain an attorney to do the T visa for you if you want a realistic chance, especially because your case is not by any means a slam dunk. Okay? That's how. Just so you know. Okay. Well, we got to the end of our questions for now, except Julietta, you just asked me a question. Is it easy to get a bond in an ICE detention case having a felony? No. First of all, there's two words that never go together: easy and immigration. Okay, that's just a reality. Okay? And in order to get bond, whoever it is you're referring to that's in detention can't be subject to mandatory detention. Although, technically, even if they are, there are ways to get bond, but that's very difficult. You have to make a motion directly to the district director. But if the person is not an aggravated felon and not subject to mandatory detention, then the bond redetermination motion actually can be made to the judge at the first hearing. Immigration makes or sets the initial bond, but if they have denied it or if they've, made it so hard that you can't pay it, then you have to wait for the first hearing, and many times the judge will greatly decrease it. Like I've had cases where immigration will set the bond at like $50,000, and I make the motion, the bond redetermination motion, and show that immigration will set the bond at like $50,000. And I make the motion, the bond redetermination motion, and show that, well, you may as well say $1 million to some of the people. So I've had the judge reduce it to like 3,000. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, well, that should do it for my live for today. I'm off to go get hip surgery, so everybody have a good day. I know I'm going to. And we'll be back for the next live, okay?